Hey guys, I'm Prasia.
And I'm Gavin.
And this is the Pray for Growth podcast, where growth is a journey. So let's keep learning. Okay, today is episode 2. Mm-hmm. Yes, we made it to episode 2. The topic is letting go to move forward, embracing change for self-discovery. I feel like this is an important one today. All right, so we're talking about letting go of old versions of yourself to make space for new possibilities and a new version of yourself. So, what's the hardest thing you've ever had to let go of, and how did it change you?
The hardest thing I've ever had to let go of.
And how did it change you? Let's be real.
Let's be real?
Yeah.
I would say the hardest thing I've ever had to let go of was my relationship with my father.
That's deep.
The traditional relationship that we had. Mm-hmm. So long story short, when I came out, the relationship with my dad changed drastically. So loving, supportive father became not supportive and absent. So I had to find a way to deal with that new reality.
Yeah.
And that actually changed me because it changed the way of how I viewed relationships in general. Mm-hmm. You know, I felt if someone who was a blood relation could not want to spend time with you or want to be with you or be in your presence,
Yeah.
then what does that mean for people who are not blood relation, like friends and lovers? So it really did a number on my brain, and I would say it made me more forgiving and understanding of people and their need to make choices for themselves.
Oh, yeah, that's deep. Because even though the choices they make for themselves affect you, you know it's not within your control. So letting go of that makes space for you to heal.
Yes, and it helped me to not take separations or breakups or friendships that came to an end so personally, because you realize that everyone is making the decision that they think is best for them in that moment. Like even my father, like people don't understand when I say like that's the decision that he made. He feels like he can't be close to me or doesn't want to be close to me, and that's good for him.
Damn. And to think, I know it hurts though to think that that's a decision that he's making.
But also too, in the same breath, we also to make those decisions when we move ourselves out of situations that we may deem to be toxic or unsafe for us. So people are doing it all the time, but there's always an opposite side of the coin of that relationship. The perspective is everything. Not saying it's not about right or wrong. It's that decision is for you.
So you're basically doing what he can't do for you, and you're accepting him for where he is.
Right.
That's very stand up.
I never thought about it that way, but yes, right. That's what I did. But what about you? What is the...
Well, one more question.
One more thing.
How do you think that has changed you today?
It's changed me in that, like I said, I think I am a forgiving person. It's made me more forgiving. I think also it's made me flexible in relationships that I have with people in general. Like I don't automatically like think of boundaries or linearly of how like a relationship could go. I think it's expanded my mind and how a relationship can function for two people.
Yeah, you understand how nuanced a relationship can be, and it's not a one-sided thing. It's
right, and it may not be traditional. It may look like something weird or unorthodox. So I think that's how it changed me. And I think emotionally, I did go through it. I'm not gonna lie, I went through a depression when that happened. I was probably depressed for about a year. But coming out of that depression, it did make me stronger.
I was gonna say something else.
No, go ahead and say it. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, well, forget your daddy, but let's not say that.
Those things are okay.
Is it?
They are okay. What if you had to cut off your mother because she was being toxic? Or your sister because she was being toxic?
There have been situations in my family where that has happened.
Right, and you did that, and some people are like, how could you do that to a family member?
No, I'm an advocate for cutting off those who don't respect your boundaries or are keeping you from moving forward or healing in your life.
Right. But,
even if it's your mother or your father.
But also to know that those boundaries are different for everyone. What people will accept or put up is different. For my father, he says that he can't accept a gay son. That is a boundary. So when you look at it that way, and when you're actually looking at it that way, everyone is doing what they think is best for them. I didn't say what's right, I said what's best for them. And I think that's the key word that people forget. It's what you deem best for you. What might be best for you may not be right, but if you're saying like this is best for me, who am I to say that it's not?
Damn, I have nothing to say to that.
Okay, to you. What is the hardest thing you've ever had to let go of, and how did it change?
I would have to say who I thought I was. And I had to understand that who I thought I was is a culmination of actually parts of who I really am, but experiences and societal expectations, all these different things that have shaped me. So for a long time, well, I feel like up until the last 4 years, I was living my life based on who I thought I was, rather than just letting go of some of the things that we deal with as Black women, like perfectionism, fear for being perceived. Like all of those things were literally creating my existence. I realized a lot of the decisions, even though they turned out to be good for me and helped me discover my purpose and follow my dreams, it got to a point where I started meeting resistance and I couldn't move forward because I was still trying to hold on to all of these things that I thought defined me. It was just all these things where I was exhausting myself trying to meet this standard and bar that I set for myself that was unrealistic. It's unreal, unrealistic, and it didn't make me happy. That's really what it was for me. And so I had to break all that down and rediscover who I was. And that's why I talked about in the last episode how I feel like I'm literally right now in between this point of my old self and my new self. And it's like I'm very happy, but it's still this weird, uncomfortable space. I'm in the middle.
Because you're rediscovering.
Yes, I'm literally rediscovering. But if I say how it had shaped me and changed me, anxiety is a big one because I feel like less anxious.
Oh, less anxious.
Yeah, and I don't succumb to my anxiety as much as I used to. I don't make my decisions based on that, and then I don't think everything is a direct result of an action that I made or didn't make. It's just life.
So it sounds like to me that your anxiety was a direct symptom of being something that you weren't supposed to be.
Yes. And thinking that I had to be that person. And then I was like, why aren't you happy? Why aren't you? Right now, I'm actually enjoying life. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, yes. I often think that people don't ask themselves that question enough. Who am I? Because I think we are comfortable with what we or what others perceive us to be. Because honestly, that's how we build. In my opinion, everyone builds their perception of themselves based on how others perceive them. Of what, and it starts with your parents. Your parents and your family, they do that, and then we take those things on, and either we rebel against them or we find a way to like shape it to fit this narrative that we have of ourselves, which is again the perception that others have given to us. So I think to really say like, who am I? Do I really like these things, or should I really be doing these things, or so I think that's a tough journey to go, and it is confusing. It can be confusing and frustrating because you've been living with that for so long.
Yeah, and you've been living one way your whole life, and things just start to change even within you. And it's okay to just be a different and new person. You don't have to be scared of that either.
New is just expansion.
Yeah.
That's all. You're rediscovering space or discovering space in yourself or territory that you've not explored before.
Yeah. I mean, your old frequency is always going to want to pull you back. as you've been in that space for so long.
Look at you. So next question is, are you posing for
Yeah, I did.
Why do you think letting go is so difficult for most people?
Because of literally what I just said. I feel like we always have two different versions of ourselves, the past version and then the present version.
Right.
And the version that, well, three, because in the version of ourselves that we're trying to get to. So three different versions of ourselves. And people get comfortable behaving and doing the same, performing the same habits in their old frequency. But I feel like as we discover ourselves and live on this earth, a lot of us will be urged to reach our highest frequency. But then we have to deal with the present moment and who we currently are and what's currently happening in the external.
That is true. I agree with that. And I would say letting go is hard because letting go is comfort. I mean, what we know is very comforting oftentimes. So I think the letting go of the thing is it's out of fear, because if I let that go, then what is there to come? I don't know what this next thing is. I don't know what this next move
or what it looks
or
like.
what it looks like.
That's a big one.
And to be quite honest, we all want to know what's coming around the corner, like everyone does.
Yeah.
So that is the hardest part.
Fear is probably the biggest one.
It's definitely I say fear is the root of everything.
It is.
If you're stagnant, it's 99.9% because of fear.
Because we want to know what it looks like. We're like, oh, can I predict it? Can I?
We want someone to hold our hand, and also to know that sometimes
instant gratification, validation,
and validation, like all of those things that bring us pleasure. We want to make sure that we're getting that pleasure, that safety, that security in the next phase or the next chapter in the new relationship or in being single or whatever, because it's so we want those things. We want those creature comforts.
Yeah, creature comforts. I like that.
I heard that somewhere.
Creature comforts. Oh, wait.
Has fear stopped you from moving?
Absolutely, y'all. I got a lot of fear. I don't.
I don't.
It might seem like I don't because I'm very good at masking, but I think that's fear comes from, well, anxiety comes from fear, right? And that's why I'm very anxious, because that is how I deal with my fear.
Right.
And I'll start to overthink and everything else. And people won't see it because I'm very good at masking it. But in my head or alone, like I'm going crazy with it. But because I'm really, like you said, it's literally the thing of I am a control freak. So control is another thing. When you put control and fear into the same room, things get really crazy.
Okay.
And so when I fear it because I can't control it, I don't know, like you said, what it's going to feel like or look like. And because I can't see it right now or feel it right now, and then you have to go through all those exercises and have emotional resilience.
Wow.
To tell yourself, don't let doubt creep in and take over. Like,
doubt is healthy. You said two things. Doubt is healthy. I think you should not be weighed down by doubt, but a little bit of doubt is okay.
Yeah.
Because a little bit of doubt can sometimes reinforce if you're on the path. You're like, should I be doing this thing, or should I trust this thing? And if you're confident, you'll go, oh, yes, because of blah, 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 and you move through it. I think sometimes doubt is just a checkpoint for you.
You know what? I recently started telling myself to use fear as my compass. So whenever there's something that I'm feeling fearful or doubtful about, it usually means that I should be doing it.
Moving towards
it and using that to inform my next step. And that has helped me overcome a lot of emotions that stopped me and made me procrastinate. Things like that.
And I think it goes back to the other thing that you said a few moments ago is about control.
Yeah.
Being okay without being in control. Because I think that is a part of discovery. Like when you're discovering something, you're not in control of the thing that you're discovering. Like if someone says, "Hey, walk through this forest that you never," like you're just walking. You don't know the path. You can't say like this gets you from point A to point B. So it's about trusting that process.
And I think too, as humans, whenever there's something hard or complicated that we have to overcome or conquer, our brain knows that there's a chance of failure. And that also goes into perfectionism. We don't want to fail, we just want it to work out. So all of the things that possibly could happen also scares us. So you start to worry about things that shouldn't be a worry because it has not happened yet.
But failure is only a failure if you give up.
Ooh, that's a way to look at failure.
Right? So, like, if you're attempting to do something, sometimes things take multiple attempts. But if you didn't make it on your first attempt, and you're like, I'm done, I'm never doing this again, then you fail.
What did Leah say?
If you first don't succeed, dust yourself off and try again.
You can dust it off and try again.
Yeah, and I think people take failure. I think people take attempts as failure, and attempts are not failure. It took me 3 times to get my driver's license. That's because I had a hard time.
Goddamn.
Hold up.
Where at? I hope in New York.
Hold up, pause. Not in New York City because I'm not.
That's even worse.
No, can I tell the story? Because you're judging me.
I am.
It's all because I did not know how to parallel park.
Okay.
I passed. So I'm from South Carolina originally. So in South Carolina, you can pass every section of your driver's test, but if you don't pass the parallel parking portion, you fail the test.
That's how Texas. I think that's how all of them are.
Right. So I passed every section except the parallel parking. So I went the second time around, and they took me out, passed everything, and failed the parallel parking. The third time around, the lady was literally like, "Look, you know how to drive. Just parallel park so I can give you your license." So it took me 3 attempts. But if I would have given up the first time or the second time, I was like, I'm done. I'm never going to do this. And I would have been a failure because I would not have achieved the thing of saying, I want to have my driver's license. But because I stuck with it, and it's the sticking with it.
Yeah.
That's what a lot of us don't want to do. We don't want to stick with it.
Well, we don't want to stick with it because of the feelings that come up. We're scared of the feelings that come up when we fail.
Then how are you going to achieve
feeling less than, it being too hard.
But Fraser, how are you going to achieve it?
Oh, I'm not saying for me. I'm saying for those people.
Those people, how are you ever going to achieve anything if you don't stick with it?
That part.
That part.
That's true.
Who cares about your feelings? You can't trust your feelings, people.
Yeah, that is one thing that we have to remember is that we can't trust our feelings and we cannot make decisions just based on our feelings.
No.
One thing that I had to learn the hard way, I will say.
I think people are still learning. Well, actually, people haven't learned that lesson.
So I can get very passionate and make a decision based off feelings before thinking about all the other things that have to do with it.
Because your feelings change, which means they can't be trusted.
Ooh.
Why would you trust something that changed minute by minute?
I mean, but you can use feelings
as a gauge, but not as your sole decision maker. Right? So if I'm feeling uncomfortable about this thing, that feeling is leading me to say, hey, Gavin, take a moment, think this next step through because you're feeling uncomfortable. Why are you feeling uncomfortable?
Yeah.
You know, what's causing this to happen? Is there something about this process? Is this thing that you're about to do? So, like, you use it to guide you through the questions of why it's happening, right? It's just information.
Yeah.
But people go, oh, I feel uncomfortable. I'm not doing it.
Yeah, feeling is just something that you can reflect on to learn more about yourself.
I'm scared. I'm not doing it.
Yeah.
That's very popular. I'm scared. I'm not doing it. Okay, well.
Or they won't admit that they're scared.
They won't admit that I'm scared.
So then they just won't do it. I'm not scared. I just don't want to do it. You know, if you admit you're scared, then maybe you'll get closer to doing it.
Oh, if you admit your fear, maybe you'll get closer to doing it.
It's a big thing about feelings too.
Owning them.
Owning them. Yeah. All right. I think we're doing pretty good.
Are we?
I think that was like 10 minutes. We didn't time it.
We did time it. We got 26 seconds.
Oh,
so she
beautiful.
put a timer on me, you all, because she's gonna talk.
He was talking a little too much in the last episode. Okay, both of us were. And if you watched all 48 minutes,
thank you.
Thank you. You know what? You are needed in this world. All of us.
Keeping it brief
not all
today.
of us.
What's one thing you've let go of recently that made space for something better in your life?
Living in New York City, you don't have to have a car, right? Especially living in Brooklyn. So I recently moved to Brooklyn, and my man has a car. So we decided that we can mostly use his car. But for me, I realized how childish it was, but and kind of how much of a scarcity mindset. But I really was upset about selling my car because I needed extra cash.
Right.
You know, I'm not working right now. So I said, what's one thing that I could sell to make money?
Car.
I financed my car, was almost paid off. If I sold it, I could keep a lot of the cash and my credit score would go up, which it did. But for me, having a car, like that material possession, signified a certain status for me. So I was like, oh my gosh, like I have to sell my car. That must mean I'm doing horrible, blah, 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 blah. Like it was so childish now that I think about it.
It's not childish. It's something that you were probably taught in your real years, that it's something that you need, and it's a mile marker for you. So it's important.
And I feel like I was so attached to material possessions to where I stopped gaining things spiritually for a second there. And the universe was continuously taking away. Well, I don't want to say taking away, but I was learning hard lessons in the realm of the external material possessions that I think I needed to, so that I can have a much more abundant mindset and realize the things that I truly needed to prosper.
Wow.
I am working on being less of a consumer in general.
Okay.
To not consume things. And so that means to not always buy, whether it's clothes, food, just anything.
Right.
I try to live a life to say, is it necessary? Do I need it in general? Do I need to go to the grocery store and buy all of this food? Or do I just need the bare minimum to get myself by?
And what is that doing for you in your life?
I'll say this. It makes me more appreciative of the things that I have, and of the things, but when I'm conscious of the things that I buy, they're actually things that I need. And or want, and if I want them, I really value it, and not because it's like a material possession, but to say like, no, it's the only bag that I have, and this bag serves a purpose. It's not 15 bags because I don't need 15. I have one, and it carries the things that it needs to carry. Yeah. And so yeah, it makes me mindful and grateful for the process that these things had to go through in order for me to receive them. Yeah. Like some cow had to die, yes, because I don't do anything vegan, for me to get another bag, you know? And I'm grateful for the poor cow dying for it. And I'm not being funny, but it's the same with food. Like some chicken died, or some chicken died for your plate. Right, or somebody planted a field of rice for me, so that I can have this rice.
Which then makes you have more gratitude for life in general.
Right, and so it has created a spirit of gratitude.
This has not been the year for me consuming less.
You consume more?
I actually have this year, but I feel like I needed to. Things haven't been easy for me right now. Yet I'm living the most abundant that I ever have. And I'm not going to say it's because I'm consuming more.
Right.
But I bought myself these things and to show myself that I can obtain them and I do deserve them. You deserve to splurge. You do. You deserve to splurge because I haven't in so long. Like I haven't bought a new winter coat in so long.
Right.
Like it was just these things that, and then it also showed me that I do not need all of these things to succeed. Like I'm the type of person who's like, well, if I want to do fashion content, I need fashion content. I need to have this outfit, or I need to do this. I need to have this, and now I have it, and my mindset still needs to be of a certain caliber to get all of this stuff done. Like, you know what I'm saying? And I don't even want to say caliber. How am I trying to explain this? I feel like it didn't make a difference. Like, you can have $1 million, but if your mindset does not change, then you're still going to feel like you're in the same place.
So that means that you're not. That means that you're still working to align mind, heart, and intention.
Yes. And I realized I've been chasing money for so long, and I want money, but I want purpose more. And I didn't need all that materialistic things to help me discover my purpose.
Because you thought the materialistic things are reflective of the money that you wanted, right? Yeah. So it's the outcome.
Which is really just thinking small, because you're gonna have the money regardless.
Right. Right.
You deserve it. It's innate. That's your right.
Right.
Money is energetic. We can all have it. We all
exactly. I mean, we're all in the United States. It's a very capitalistic, consumeristic society based, everyone is about what you have and what you don't have, and that usually equates to money. So, unfortunately, in that situation, people in this country tend to judge you on finance and economics before anything else. Who cares if you have a good heart? Who cares if you're kind? Who cares if you're honest? How much money do you make? Yeah. And if you make a lot of money, we value the fact that people make a lot of money and not that they're good people. Yeah. So it makes sense in this case when you were chasing money. Part of the fruit of chasing money is to have all of these materialistic things. And so you felt like you needed these in order to accomplish.
And then I wasn't getting them because I felt like I needed them. Right. Then when I finally let go of that attachment, then I started to receive them. And now I realize it's more about my mindset than it is about anything else. But all this shit is basically made up. You can really have whatever you want at any point in time in your life.
So the growth.
You just have to decide that you deserve it and that you can have it.
Yes. And not just.
And still having patience and not caring or being attached to the outcome.
It's what you said. It's the mindset. Yeah. The mindset is the growth. That's what this whole podcast is about. If you don't change your mindset, nothing will happen for you. Yeah. Things
don't have to look perfect for you to receive them. Things can look just as messy as they do now, and they can start to change at any point in time in your life. Like, you get what I'm saying? Like, it's really all made up. Like, we could literally do and have whatever we want.
Everyone has a purpose. Yeah. If you are not connected to your purpose, you're going to connect whatever you're aligned to.
Okay, I get what you're saying. You're saying everyone has a purpose, but we as humans have free will, so we get to choose our purpose. We have a choice of whether or not we want to choose our purpose.
And don't get me wrong, because I'm very spiritual and I believe in the divine. The divine might keep throwing things at you to say, like, boom, 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 this is your purpose.
Oh, that's me all day.
And you can keep running from it, but you'll find yourself in the loop until you make the connection to say, like, every time I try to do this exact thing keeps happening. But the problem is that we don't know how to make that connection. A lot of us struggle to make that connection. That's what I was just
thinking about. Either that, or I feel like you have hyper aware individuals like us that overly think about the connection. And so then we come up with all these different things and reasons when it could be so simple and right in front of us.
I used to always say that everything that you need is right in front of you.
I used to say everything that you need is already within you.
And also too right in front of you. Boom. Because if it's within, I'm present, I'm here right now.
And then it becomes in front of you.
It's in front of me.
That's true.
It is both. I believe that too. It's within you, but it's also as it's being within you because it's within you by default. It's right in front.
Right. Your external world reflects your internal world. And ain't that true? Literally, that's exactly what I was just talking about. I felt like I needed all these materialistic things to reflect a certain identity that wasn't even truly me. Kept getting all this resistance. Well, it worked for me up to a certain point.
Right.
Then you get to literally what the topic is today. You get to a certain point where you have to choose a different life if you want to continue to move forward.
So how do we
or you're going to stay stagnant.
So this whole thing is about letting go in order to move forward. How do we help you? How do we give you tips to let go?
Tips to let go.
I'm not even or strategies. What are some strategies of letting go? Like how
one strategy that I've been using recently is to understand that there will always be things that I feel like need to get done. You will always have things to do. You will always have a to-do list. You might never ever completely get everything done in one day. And you know why? Because life is a progression. So if you don't get it done that day, God willing, you have the next day to get it done. And whatever you got done in that day is what you were supposed to get done in that day.
Right.
And the only thing you can do is continuously try to improve yourself.
Right.
But it's not a matter of like, for me, I had a bad habit of writing these unrealistic to-do plans. And even if I didn't get it done in like 3 days, I would put this pressure on myself to complete everything on the list. And then I would procrastinate or then overthink to where that task took so much longer than it needed to. And then I realized when I just let go of all that, when I realized the whole purpose of living is not to get things done, because we feel like we have to be productive.
But how did you get to that point? Like, how did you get to the point of saying, I just need to let this go? Because I feel like people say it all the time.
Telling myself it's never going to all be done.
So you basically
I literally have to tell myself, talk to myself and say, I'm never going to get it all done. And that's not the purpose and the point of life. You don't want to get it all done. You don't want to have it all done. There are always going to be things that you're adding and discovering, and you want to give yourself free will and space to complete them. And I got tired of the pressure I was putting on myself from doing that. So yeah, it was literally about talking to myself and literally repeating that over and over and over again. And I'm not saying the task is not going to get done.
Right. But in doing that,
Yeah,
you slowly start to move towards letting go of the thing that you want to. So being honest with yourself, I would say, is a good way to start in letting things go. And I would say, don't quit. Be gentle to yourself.
Yes.
So if you're trying to complete tasks, or also if you're trying to let go of a bad habit or create healthy habits, baby steps. And if you don't succeed the first day or the first week, it's okay. And you just go back and do it again. Part of letting go is falling off the horse and getting back on. It's very rare that I find that people do something like quit cold turkey or let go. And typically, if a person does something cold turkey, they've already been through hell and high water.
Yeah.
Like, yo, I've experienced.
There's already been a few regressions.
Right. Like,
what we need that regression to move forward. It's like a rubber band. Like you regress and then you get flung forward because then you deal with those feelings again of like, oh, I'm in this space again. And then it makes you want to propel even more. Like it trains your brain to be like, okay, this is not as comfortable as it used to be. I want out. Your new self, then the things that you newly discovered about yourself, then tells your old self, okay, you want out. And there's this urge there, right?
Right.
To break free from the cycles of your old self.
I want to break free. Why are you doing that?
I felt like my grandma when I did that. So Gavin's gonna go first. It's this or that letting go edition. This episode. Comfort zone or risk it all?
Risk it all.
Yeah. Staying in your hometown or moving to a new city?
Moving to a new city.
Obviously, because he's from North Carolina. South Carolina, sorry.
Sorry, NC.
Yeah,
not from there.
Not from there. Safe career path or passion project?
Passion project.
Old routines or new habits?
That's a hard one. Old routines.
Oh, interesting. Familiar relationships or exciting new connections?
Familiar relationships.
Avoidance or confrontation?
Confrontation.
The old me or the evolving me?
Evolving me.
Rewatching favorite shows or trying new ones?
New ones. I have a hard time watching shows over.
Seeking closure or moving forward without it?
Seeking closure. Don't make that face.
When we were sitting over there, I said, oh, this is a good one for you. That was the one.
Seeking closure, of course.
It's probably going to be episode 5 when Gavin really tells us what's happening.
Telling y'all, shite. Let me stop.
Sentimental keepsakes or minimalist living?
Minimalist living.
Okay. All right. So one sentence on why. Comfort zone or risk it all? You chose risk it all.
I'm all about adventure.
Gotcha. Moving to a new city?
Love discovering new places.
Safe career path or passion project?
Passion project. I'm moved by my passions.
Old routines or new habits? You said old routines.
Old routines. Because established routines get you where you need to go sometimes. I find that to be true for me.
Interesting. Okay. Familiar relationships or exciting new connections? That's an interesting one too.
Did I say I said familiar relationships. I build bonds very strongly with people, so I like those bonds and I like to have them in my life.
I like that you said that. Avoidance or confrontation? You said
Confrontation. We're gonna confront this head on. No need to.
He's a very confrontational person.
In a loving way.
I'm just waiting. You said the evolving me.
The evolving me. The evolving me.
Okay.
The evolving me helps me not be stuck.
Gotcha.
That's what I want. That's what I'm trying to say.
You said trying new shows instead of.
I hate watching. I cannot watch. There's only maybe like one or two shows that I can actually stomach to watch them repeatedly. But most shows, give me something new. Go through it one time. I want to watch it again, even if it was an enjoyable show. I don't want to watch it a second time.
He does not want to rehash any of those feelings.
No, thank you.
Seeking closure and moving forward without it.
You're so messy for that one. I like seeking closure because having answers are important to me.
Do you need the answers?
I didn't say that I need them. I said having them are important to me. So I chose my words carefully. Mm-hmm. Having them are important to me.
Are the answers good for you?
It's not about it being good or bad. Having them is information that is important to me and my development.
In his development. I like that. In his development, because that is true. Okay. Sentimental keepsakes or minimalist living?
Minimalist living. I'm actually trying to practice that right now.
Yes.
Which is the whole thing about, not being a consumer.
Gotcha. Okay, cool. Okay.
Your turns. Here we go. Comfort zone or risk it all?
Risk it all, baby.
Staying in your hometown or moving to a new city?
Moving to a new city, never going back home. Okay.
Safe career path or passion project?
Passion project. Mm-hmm. Nothing about me is safe.
Old routines or new habits?
New habits.
Familiar relationships or exciting new connections?
Familiar relationships.
Avoidance or confrontation?
Confrontation. Let me not even try to lie.
That was coming. The old me or the evolving me?
The evolving me.
Rewatching favorite shows or trying new ones?
Trying new ones.
Seeking closure or moving forward without it?
Moving forward without it.
Sentimental keepsakes or minimalist living?
Sentimental keepsakes.
Okay, one sentence. Why did you choose risk it all?
Because I'm a risk taker. And so I'd rather risk it all than to stay stagnant.
Mm-hmm. Moving to a new city. Why did you choose
that? Because I feel like moving to a new city is how you find growth and you get out of your comfort zone.
You chose passion project. Why?
Because doing things that you're passionate about is what helps make you feel alive.
You chose new habits.
Because I'm trying to cultivate new habits. So I feel like it can get really easy to rely on the old habits. Yeah, and I just want to cultivate some new things and new habits in my life.
You chose familiar relationships also.
This one was an interesting one for me because I didn't think I was going to choose familiar until you actually gave your response, and I realized I actually value familiar relationships more than I do making new connections. And the only reason why I was going to choose new connections is because I feel this pressure sometimes to network and connect with new people. And so while that's something that I'm working on because I know that I need to, I realize that doesn't mean that I have to shun myself for having very strong and familial connections that last a very long time. That's a part of who I am.
And then you chose evolving me?
Yeah, evolving me because, who wants to choose old me? I'm a very growth-oriented person, so that's why I chose evolving me. I'm always trying to grow.
And you chose confrontation.
Yes, I agree with Gavin. Let's take care of this now. If I hold it in, then that's when things start to
go left.
Yeah.
And you also chose trying new shows.
Yeah, I love rewatching old shows, but I'm also the type of person you're like, oh, I can't wait to watch that new show. Blah, blah. I'm very much that person.
And then you chose moving forward without closure.
Yeah, because I don't want to stay around wondering about all of these different outcomes and possibilities. I just want to move forward and get to a better space.
See, I'm gonna gently challenge you on that.
Oh, okay.
And this is not a right or wrong. We've had a conversation before this, and I'm glad that this question was on here. And so I was of that mindset because I used to think that it was seeking closure was being stuck. That's how I used to translate it. Like, oh, I need for you to tell me this thing, or I need to know why this thing is. And as I've gotten older, for me, it's about information. Like, it really is about what is this thing? Kind of like what we were talking about. Like, why is this thing happening? And I'm curious to see other people's perspectives or whoever else was involved in that particular situation. Like, why did this happen? Because I know why I'm doing this thing. I don't know why these things are, why everyone else who had a piece in this thing, why did they behave the way that they did. And so sometimes when I'm able to see the perceptions of other people, it helps me to grow. I mean, while I agree with that, and I think this really depends on the type of person that you are, I feel like the reason why I have a lot of self-trust, and I also think sometimes I don't need the answers in order to figure out what I needed to learn from that situation and move on. I feel like I know myself well enough to base the situation just off of me rather than the other person. Do you get what I'm saying? I don't need the other person to know what I need to learn from that situation. I don't need their perspective, their answers on it, or anything else like that. I can rely on my connection with the universe and my inner trust to know that if that person is not giving me the answers, it's for a reason. I might seek once. But it may not be. But it's always gotten me what I deserved. I was able to move on. And I don't disagree with that. Yeah. I'm like I said, I used to have a similar mindset about that. But also too, like the way that we move through the space, I believe I'm with you. The universe will tell you what it is that is about yourself, but also too, hearing from the people who are in the room, shared the space, shared the room, shared the bed. I think it's very valuable. I think it's valuable, and I would like it, but I don't seek it. If that makes any sense. Fair. I'm not gonna. Yeah, and we deserve it. And we deserve it. We deserve what? Closure. We deserve for that person to tell us why. We do. And so I don't think it's a bad choice when people decide they need to reach out even one or two times for that closure. Because you're doing what you said, what's best for you. And there's not a wrong or a right in this situation. See? But for me, I don't like the feelings that comes up continuously reaching out to someone and not getting an outcome because then I start to attach it to outcomes. See? Yeah. I know me, Prasia, cannot reach out to someone without wanting a particular outcome. Even if I tell myself or I try to train myself subconsciously, I'm still like, but even out of this, if he could just choose me or Sam right. This is what you're verbalizing. Yeah. You're verbalizing what I'm growing through. That used to be a mindset of mine. Yeah. And now I'm like, I'm a stick in this because it's not about that. It's not about the out. It's not. I'm not. No. You're right. Because you're. I mean, I think now I think we're starting to see two sides of a conversation we had earlier. And so I know that mindset, but Gavin now is saying, no, you need to because you have always been attached at the. But no, I agree with you because I feel like with my current relationship, absolutely, I had to learn the same thing. But I feel like I needed to learn that with someone who absolutely chose me. Moving on. Whoa, man, I love.
Pause. Hold on a second.
You chose minimalist living.
He said, "Shut the fuck up, bitch." I can't breathe, Kevin. Oh, I'm sorry. Don't hate me.
I love you.
I love you too.
Never hate you.
There's nothing but love in this room, right?
You chose minimalist living.
Okay. What did I choose?
Minimalist living, right?
No, I chose.
Oh no, sentimental keepsake.
Yeah, because I'm low-key a hoarder. I'm working on that. I make everything a sentimental keepsake. You can give me that bracelet right now, and I'd be like, I'm gonna keep this forever.
Yeah, I could not live with you because I would always throw your things out.
Well, I would throw other people's things.
No, but I would I'd be like, oh, Persian has his bracelet. It's been trash it.
Yeah, I will do that to somebody else with my own stuff. I'm like, no, why'd you do that? I need that. It's special.
I say, I don't keep it.
I'll even find a special space for it, though. I will. So you won't see it. But it's just like, you might look and be like, Bridget, you got all this back here?
I don't do it. I used to do a lot of keepsakes, not anymore.
I have still, like, actual photos from friends in high schools, like physical photos, like, stored away. That they given me, like, in graduation, everything.
Well, that's fine. I still have those. But I think at this point, like, you know, some people, like, keep all their Christmas cards or all their birthday cards that they used to get.
Definitely.
I used to do that, and then I remember one of the times when I was moving, I had a box that was full of like cards and well wishes and letters.
Actually, I would have to choose minimalist living though, because
so now you're gonna switch your answer.
Because what you just said, I learned from you. Listen, I'm always learning from Gavin. No, because I agree. When I moved and I realized all the junk that we had that we did not need, because I was living in my apartment, the same apartment for 5 years, and we accumulated so much stuff. And I realized, I was like, damn. And then when I moved into this apartment with my man, that's when I also realized, like, okay, I have a lot of things that I'm holding on to that it's old as hell that I don't really need. And now that I let go of them, I'm like, oh, more space to breathe. I kind of like the dance break in episode 1.
You want a dance break? What are we dancing to?
I don't know. Now people in the gym could see us dancing. Hey, y'all. Oh. Okay. All right. That's enough of that. Yes. So every episode, we're going to end with an affirmation to keep you going throughout the week, the day, whatever. And this week, our affirmation is going to be, this is our empowerment boards. If you don't have one of these, get you one of these. Dear future self.
Last time you called my affirmation basic.
I said cliche.
I did not forget. Cliche and basic. So
Damn.
I'm not going to give one. I'm going to listen to you be not basic and not cliche.
Well, I kind of like to use fear as your compass.
Oh, that's a good one.
That's a good one.
Go ahead and put on the board.
Should we? See, it was a good one.
It was a good one. See, she got the pearl of wisdom.
That's not
Use
bad.
fear as a compass and not as an obstacle. So if you're faced with fear when trying to let things go and move into a new realm or a new area of your life, see how you can stop and think about why you have fear. And get awareness of that, and then move into the direction of that. So part of making it a compass is that you have to, one, recognize that it's fear and figure out why the fear is there. And then when you do, take the steps to move towards that.
Yeah, move towards that fear, lean into it, see where it takes you.
Lean with it.
Rock with it. All right, and that is episode 2. Yeah. Thank you guys for watching.
You didn't say the outro.
Oh. And that, okay, guys, and that is episode 2, where growth is a journey. So let's keep learning.
Bye. See you next
Like,
time.
subscribe, comment, whatever it is that you do.
Below.